destroy themselves when they make you their mission. When their goal becomes not to evolve, not to heal, not to create, but to take you down, mock your growth, and undermine your peace. The irony is that in trying to destroy you, they have to stare at you constantly. They have to watch your every move, analyze your wins, monitor your healing, all while pretending they've moved on. They lose sleep, chasing your name. They lose relationships, trying to poison others against you. They lose focus, because their attention is chained to your existence. And in the background, life moves on without them. Opportunities pass, trust evaporates, their own identity begins to erode. Because when you invest all your energy in someone else's downfall, you forget who you are. Their bitterness becomes their full-time job, and the universe doesn't pay salaries for that. Eventually, people around them start to see it. The obsession, the jealousy, the lies that don't add up. And when that moment comes, when the mask slips, it's not just embarrassing, it's devastating. Because people begin to wonder, if they could lie about you, who else have they lied about? The credibility they tried to steal from you ends up being the credibility they lose for themselves. The worst part? By the time they realize they've lost everything trying to destroy you, it's too late to fix it. Their reputation is fractured, their peace is gone, their obsession has hollowed them out, and you're still standing. You didn't need revenge. You didn't need to prove anything. You just needed to keep moving. The universe operates on return, not coincidence. The energy you release into the world doesn't vanish, it compounds. And when someone fills the air with lies, hatred, and malice, thinking it gives them control or power, they've already placed a target on their own soul. That's not mysticism, that's cause and effect. That's emotional physics. Because what you project is what you train your mind to become. When they launched their smear campaign, when they plotted in the dark, when they smiled to your face and stabbed you in the back, they thought they were winning. They believed their manipulations were invisible. But energy doesn't lie. And what they gave the world started giving back. Their bitterness bled into their relationships. Their scheming created environments of distrust. Even those closest to them began to pull away, not because you said anything, but because energy speaks louder than words. They taught themselves to wake up with anger, to live with a clenched jaw, a restless mind, a heart that can't trust. Their hate became their compass. They couldn't build anything meaningful because all they knew was how to tear down. That's why karma is so precise. It doesn't come in dramatic explosions, it comes in patterns, lost connections, missed chances, a growing sense of emptiness no external wind can fix. Because when you emit darkness, it's not just what others receive, it's what you're breathing in day after day. Meanwhile, you stayed aligned, not perfect, not unaffected, but aligned. You chose not to retaliate because you knew what they didn't. True power doesn't chase destruction. It survives it, it transforms it, and now your peace is screaming in their silence. Your resilience is louder than their accusations. And karma? It's arrived, not as a punishment, but as a mirror. It's showing them exactly who they've become through the lens of what they've done. And the worst part? They can't outrun it. Because when you live in malice, karma doesn't chase you, it lives with you. Every hour, every regret, every lonely, haunted breath. They thought they could expose you, humiliate you, shatter your name and rebuild your image in their narrative. But the more they tried to ruin you, the more they exposed themselves. That's the great paradox of targeting someone who's grounded. Your attacks only reveal your own instability. They spread rumors, manipulated others, twisted your words and blurred your truth. And they thought they were winning because they got attention. But attention is not respect. Manipulation can't be maintained without cracks. And slowly, those cracks widened. People began to notice that something didn't add up. You weren't reacting with rage. You weren't drowning in self-pity. You were calm, evolving, focused. And suddenly, the story they told about you no longer made sense. That's the moment the illusion starts to collapse. Because grounded people don't need to scream their innocence. It shows in their discipline, in their consistency, in the way they carry themselves despite being dragged through mud. And the more you rose, the more unstable they looked. Their obsession became visible. Their contradictions became obvious. Their need to tear you down started sounding desperate, even pathetic, and the world noticed. Quietly at first, then loudly, because when you're rooted in integrity, time fights for you, truth fights for you, and the storm they send your way doesn't destroy you, it clears your path. Their aggression became your confession, their betrayal became your testimony, and no matter how many lies they told, reality had one thing they couldn't erase: your behavior, your evolution. Trying to destroy someone who knows who they are only ends one way: self-exposure. They peeled back their own mask by trying to rip off yours. And now they're left standing in front of a crowd they tried to deceive, naked, exposed, and discredited. Not because you fought back, but because you didn't have to. Truth did. They crafted a fantasy where they were the hero and you were the villain. They needed that lie to feel justified. It's what allowed them to sleep after the betrayal, to laugh in public while tearing you apart in private. But lies are heavy. They don't just distort reality, they demand maintenance. And the deeper they wove their false narrative, the more effort it took to hold it all together. Every exaggeration led to another. Every manipulated story had to be remembered, defended, and repeated. And eventually it all began to collapse, not because you exposed them, but because lies are always on a timer. Truth isn't always fast, but it's patient. It waits, watches, and lets time do the cutting. And over time, people started asking questions. Inconsistencies surfaced. Contradictions were noticed. The same stories began sounding rehearsed, and the passion behind them grew desperate. The false narrative they built to destroy your name started cracking under the weight of reality. Because while they were busy spinning stories, you were busy living a life that contradicted every word they spoke. You didn't fight back with gossip. You didn't sink to their level. You just stayed consistent. That consistency, that quiet strength, is what made their entire performance unsustainable. Because liars thrive in chaos, but you gave them none. You moved on, created, healed, grew, and that made every lie they told age like milk. That's how karma works when truth is involved. It doesn't attack, it reveals, slowly, surgically, publicly. The false image they painted of you became a mirror they couldn't escape. People they once manipulated began to pull away. Trust began to evaporate. Their own reputation, once used as a weapon, turned into a liability. They tried to destroy your name, and in doing so, they put their own under scrutiny. Because when you target someone who walks in truth, you invite attention to your own deception. Now the narrative has flipped. They lost credibility, connection, and control, all because they couldn't resist the urge to rewrite the truth. But truth has one law: it always resurfaces. And when it does, it doesn't whisper, it roars. Karma doesn't announce itself. It doesn't knock on the door wearing a name tag or shout in public. It slips in quietly, dressed as consequences, timing, and revelation. That's why they never saw it coming. They thought they got away with everything. They mocked your silence, celebrated your pain, and mistook the absence of retaliation as weakness. They thought they were safe because they saw no immediate fallout. But real justice doesn't strike fast, it strikes true. And when it hits, it doesn't just remove comfort, it removes the illusion of control. One day, everything they used to feel powerful, attention, manipulation, allies, false narratives, began slipping through their fingers, slowly at first, then all at once. People stopped calling. What makes karma even more terrifying is its precision. It doesn't just take what they love, it takes what they used to harm. It turns the tools of betrayal into instruments of collapse. That relationship they flaunted, now toxic. That circle they weaponized against you, gone or turned against them. The lies they told, now public liabilities. Because karma doesn't have to invent pain, it just gives them back exactly what they projected. And you didn't need to lift a finger. You didn't curse them, chase them, or obsess over revenge. You healed, you focused, you trusted time. That decision, your refusal to fight dirt with dirt, became your greatest shield. Because when you align with truth, karma fights for you, not with rage, but with relentless accuracy, and it arrives at the exact moment they're most vulnerable, when they finally believe they've won. Now they sit in the silence they once celebrated, isolated, confused, haunted by memories they can't control and outcomes they can't fix. That is how karma arrives, not as punishment, but as a mirror. It shows them everything they are, everything they did, and everything they lost.